Wow, are you kidding me? Another game winner by Halliburton. That's 3 game winners and 1 game-tying shot in the final seconds. That one led to a game win in overtime. I don't think anybody's ever going to say he's overrated again. I just have to ask this one question. What's Caruso doing right here? Why isn't he double-teaming Halliburton? I know that Siakam got behind him. I think he's going to go guard Siakam. But still, this is a guy taking the shot. Go guard him. That was a very exciting game. What I'm going to do is give you what I call a data story. I'm going to break down game 1 by the stats, and that's going to form my best bets for game 2. What I really think we could call game 1 is a tale of 2 halves. Let's first look at the scoring. The Pacers scored 20 in the first quarter, 25 in the second, 45 for the first half. The Thunder scored 29 and 28 for 57. So they had a nice 12-point lead going into the halftime. But in the second half, the Pacers scored 31 in quarter 3, 35 in the fourth quarter, an amazing fourth quarter comeback again. The Thunder scored 28 in the third quarter and 25 in the fourth. So the Pacers outscored the Thunder 66 to 53, and they won the game by 1. Now let's look a little bit deeper into how this happened. We're going to look at the 4 factors. Again, these were created by Dean Oliver in his seminal book, Basketball on Paper. If you've ever thought about reading this book, I highly recommend it. This is also where the offensive rating, defense rating, and net rating were introduced. Let's look at the 4 factors for each half in game 1. The first factor is the effective field goal percentage, which takes into account the 3-point shooting as well. It was 54.3 for the Pacers, 43.5 for the Thunder, so the Pacers won that factor. The turnover percentage, that's how many times the team turned the ball over. That was heavily in the Thunder's favor, as we saw the Pacers get turned over 19 times in the first half. So the Thunder really dominated this stat. Offensive rebounding percentage, we know the Pacers out-rebounded the Thunder in game 1. However, the Thunder had a slight edge in offensive rebounding percentage in the first half of game 1. And the free throw rate, that's how many free throw attempts they had per field goal attempt. That was also in the Pacers' favor. However, because of this big turnover discrepancy here, the Thunder had a 12-point lead going into the half. Let's look at the second half. The Pacers, again, shot the ball well. They shot the ball excellent, especially in the fourth quarter. 61.7 effective field goal percentage is very high. Anything over 55% is really good. 61% is excellent. For the turnover percentage, the Thunder still had the advantage, but not as big a discrepancy. While the Pacers had 19 turnovers in the first half, they only had 5 in the second. Offensive rebounding percentage, this was a big discrepancy here. This went to the Pacers in the second half, and the free throw rate went to the Thunder. So overall, the Pacers outscored the Thunder at 66 to 53 in the second half. So let's combine these halves and look at the entire game. Again, the Pacers dominated effective field goal percentage, 58.5 for the entire game. The turnover percentage went to the Thunder. The lower the better in this case. The offensive rebounding percentage was in favor of the Pacers. The free throw rate was a slight advantage for the Pacers. And let me just say, in Dean Oliver's book, this is why I have these numbers in this order. He gives the effective field goal percentage of 40% weight. The turnover percentage is 25%. Offensive rebound is 20%. And the free throw rate is 15%. So if you multiply those percentages by each of these numbers, you get 28.1 for the total for the Pacers, 25.4 for the Thunder. And when a team wins the 4 factors, they win the game well over 90% of the time. That's the end of the game 1 story. Let's get to the model predictions. This data's updated includes game 1 of this series. The model thinks the Thunder are going to win 121 to 104 for a 225 total, negative 16.4 spread for the Thunder, and a 96% chance to win this game. Now, I know some people don't like to go all the way back to the beginning of the season, but if we just look at the data, just look at the games from January 1st, 2025 through game 1 of the NBA Finals, then we have the following stats. The Pacers' offensive rating on the road improves. Their defense rating also improves. In this case, the model will pick the Thunder to win 122 to 108, a 230 total, negative 14.7 spread, and a 94% chance to win this game. So it has a higher pace, a higher total, but a lower spread. If we just consider the playoff games that these two teams have played, then the model picks the Thunder to win 122 to 102, 224 total, negative 19.7 spread, and a 98% chance to win this game. The model is the same for all 3 of these. We're just looking at data that's more recent as we go from top to bottom. In any case, the model picks the Thunder to win by at least 14.7 points. So that kind of shows you which way I'm going to lean in game number 2. In my videos, I always consider all the games up here, so I'm going to use this for my model predictions. And if we compare that to the FanDuel line, FanDuel has the Thunder favored by 11 points, negative 5.68 on the money line, and a 228.5 total. The model would pick the Thunder to cover a minus 11 point spread and go under the 228.5 total. And those are going to be my 2 best bets for game number 2. Because I think the Thunder are going to figure out how to get better quality shots and make it tougher on the Pacers to make 3-point shots. And I think they're going to pay attention to the rebounding discrepancy. These are going to be my personal best bets for game number 2. Hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck on your best bets for game number 2. Let's go.